Have a nice day. Today I am coming up with a new video by explaining about topology of networking. Actually, when we think about topology, there is two types of topology. One is physical topology and another one is logical topology. In physical topology, a hardware technician can only understand about this physical topology, that is or with a background of hardware knowledge is essential to understand about the physical topology, because we are describing about connectivity of networking. Actually, this physical topology is describing about the connectivity of networking, or the computers participating in the network is distributed in such a way, that is physical topology. There are three types of topology mainly, that is ring topology, bus topology and star topology. And there is another kind, that is mixed topology, maybe the mixed version of the ring, bus and star topology we can call hybrid or mixed topology. Actually, basically there are three type of topology, that is ring topology, bus topology and star topology. Nowadays the star topology is much more familiar. In previous years we were used the ring topology and bus topology. There are a lot of limitations in ring topology and bus topology. The type of coaxial cable we are using to interconnect the network, and we need some BNC connectors to make a connection with the computer. And there is a special type of network card, NIC card, a network interface card, and in that network interface card will have a special type of connector to connect the BNC connector. So we need that kind of cable and BNC connector to implement the ring topology and bus topology. And also in star topology we are using an advanced device known as hub or switch. A hub and switch, actually we can call it a similar device, but technically there are some differences, some advancement for switch over the hub. In star topology we are using a special unique address, that is MAC address, that I can give you the detailed explanation later with another video. So we are in the case of switch, this MAC address will keep for speedy access to the computers in a particular port of the switch. But in the case of hub, there will not be saving of MAC addresses. So each time to access the computer, it will introduce a broadcast message, and then it will find out the computer, and there is a chance of collision of frames. So there is a chance of loss of packet or the frames. That is a limitation of the hub device. So we are using the switches similar to hub, but technologically there are some differences. There are some advancement in switches over hubs, and in switches there are different types, that is manageable switch and non-manageable switch. Actually that is not our video, so I am not want to explain more about the switches and hubs. So this is the device we are using to implement star topology in computer environment. The next type of topology is logical topology. You cannot see physically anything about these kind of topologies. This is logical topology. In physically we can interconnect the computer using the ring topology or bus topology or star topology, any type of topology you prefer, you can do that. but to access the computer resources throughout the network, we are classifying the topology as 3, that is peer-to-peer, work group and server client. In peer-to-peer topology, the operating system sharing the resources which is connected on the computer, and if we share one particular resource, that particular resource will be a common object throughout the network, and there will not be any restriction, there will not be any particular permission over this networked resources. Anybody can, if one resource is being shared, anybody can access that object, because there is no restriction with a user. Actually, the single user operating systems are participating in this type of network. Only a person with a positive mental attitude can work with this network positively. If somebody is crooked and somebody wants to destroy the network and destroy the resources over the network, it will be very easy. That is the main problem of the peer-to-peer network. It is very easy to implement and it is very easy to manage, but the security is 0. That is the main problem. Only the single user operating system is participating in these type of, I told you about what is single user operating system in my previous videos. So, you know very well what is a single user operating system. There will be only one user. This particular user is exposing everybody. So, there will not be any security for the data which is residing in the operating system. So, we need some security. In that context, we can implement another type of topology, that is work group topology. In work group topology, we are using a multi-user operating systems. In multi-user operating system, you know already, I described about this what is multi-user operating system in my previous videos. Each operating system will have a super user, and we can create multiple user under the super user in these operating systems. Even the server operating system, when we install by default, it will be a multi-user operating system. That's all. It will not act as a server. If we install the server services inside this server operating system, then only it will behave as a server. So, an operating system with a multi-user can participate in this environment. So, what is the limitation? What is the benefit of this work group topology? That is what we are going to explain right now. Actually, this multi-user operating system can share its network, its resources, its local resources. There will be two type of permissions, local permission and share permission. If we connect to one printer or any hard disk in these networks, in this operating system, we can share these resources over the network. When we share this resource over the network, only the permissible user can access this resource. Yes, it is fine, it should be like that, but there is a limitation. Suppose I am connecting 3 computers in the network environment, system A, system B and system C. System A wants to enter B, at the same time C wants to enter A. If system A wants to enter B, system A should try to connect to B, then B will ask a username and password. If and only if A is able to provide the correct security credential of B, then only that particular user can access the resources inside we configured in the B operating system. Otherwise, it will reject. And the same way, if C wants to enter A will ask password from C. So, C should issue the username and password residing in A. If C issues the username and password correctly, then only C can access the shared object on A. So, each of the operating system possesses its own privileges. So, it is not, there is a security, but security is a menace. So, security, there will not be a centralized administration for this security. So, it will be a headache to manage this network. There is a security, there is high level security. Each operating system will have its own security. It's need a username and password to allow accessing of that particular resources. Then only that operating system will allow to share it. But what will be the situation of a user? A user should remember all the username and password residing in all operating system. It will be a hectic task. It is not practical. This is only the situation of 3 computers. But what will happen? Thousands of computers participating in the same network. It will be a real headache. So, we need the security, but that security should be a centralized administration. So, we are coming to the next topology, that is server client topology. In server client environment, there will be only one server computer. It is not only a server, just installed server computer, it should be configured as a domain controller, In previous Windows operating system, we call its domain controller as primary domain controller and backup domain controller at the time of Windows NT. After that, since Windows 2000, we heard about Active Directory in Windows environment, and it is continuing nowadays. But in Linux operating system, they are implementing security level, domain level security with the Samba. Previously, there was a Samba, but after the Samba 4, they implemented the PDC concept, primary domain controller concept. What is this domain controller? Actually, when we install an operating system, it will be a standalone machine. When we install a domain controller services or the software required to become a domain controller, we need to install in this server operating system, then only it will behave as a domain controller. When we create a user inside the server computer, we can access the same user from the client machine. Actually, there is no need of a user, local user inside the client computer. The user in the server can access from the client. So, what is happening in the case of administration? We can change the password in the server. That particular password should issue from the client machines. We do not need to manage the passwords and username in the distributed environment. We can create and we can manage and we can change the password and any type of security credential we have to manage one user, that should be implemented in the server only. So, a network administrator should handle that particular server only. The client users will access from a dumb terminal or a desktop machine or from a laptop or from even from a mobile. This particular server machine only need to configure. The server administrator or the network administrator don't need to bother about the client resources. He is only bother about the server and its users and its domain controller and its domain controller structure and the resources connected to the domain controller. This is the only thing a server or network administrator should think. So, it is very easy to manage or to administer the network resources and the network users over the domain environment. It is a centralized network. The client machine is only a terminal or a node to get the resources from the server. Server will issue the resources according to the permission of each user. This permission can also set inside the server. That environment is called the server client environment. These are the structure of the topologies implemented nowadays in the network environment. First of all, we discussed about two type of topology, that is physical topology and logical topology. In physical topology, we discussed about ring topology, bus topology and star topology. And finally, we reached into the logical topology, that is peer-to-peer, work group and server client. So, this server client is the efficient method to manage the network resource and the network users. It is a very acceptable method to implement in the network in a huge network environment. So, now I am going to conclude my subject. Have a nice day once again. Goodbye.